Thank you all so much for being here and joining us for this press conference. There has been a tremendous amount of work accomplished and progress made since we last had our press conference and announced that Salt Lake City would be hosting the next UN Civil Society Conference right here in our beautiful capital city and state in August. We are thrilled to have the UN Undersecretary General Alison Smale with us and showing her all that Salt Lake City has to offer. So we're excited to hear from her this morning. I just want to let you know the list of speakers, and then I will turn the microphone over to Mayor Biskupski. You will be hearing from Mayor Biskupski first. She will welcome Undersecretary General Alison Smale, who will then follow with a few remarks. And then we will conclude the press conference with Dr. Baldomero Lago. He is the Chief Global Officer with Utah Valley University. Mayor?
Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us this morning. It certainly has been an honor to welcome the United Nations Undersecretary General Alison Smale to Utah and to Salt Lake City. We had a very lovely dinner last night and heard some words from her, and you'll get to hear from her again today. Secretary Smale is here to meet with individuals who are planning the 68th United Nations Civil Society Conference being hosted in Salt Lake City this August. I want to acknowledge the significance of the United Nations partnering with Salt Lake City to host this conference. I am confident that by bringing the 68th Civil Society Conference to Salt Lake City, we will not only expand awareness around the country of sustainable development, but further the actual outcomes. Salt Lake City will be the first U.S. city outside of New York to welcome the world's NGOs through this conference. I can think of no better time and no better place than Salt Lake City for the United Nations to re-emphasize and reintroduce its vision, mission, and values to the American people. Values of peace, collaboration, human rights, respect, freedom, and empowerment, all of which help us create a better world. For months now, leaders from every aspect of Utah have been working together to ensure we live up to this unique endeavor. From our universities, nonprofits, family foundations, business leaders, state and local governments, and faith communities, especially the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, we have been working together around the clock to host the world this August. Today, we are excited to announce the formal name and look for the conference, Building Inclusive and Sustainable Communities. With everything Salt Lake City is doing to build a sustainable and resilient city, from investing in more equitable transit and housing to becoming a clean energy city to empowering diverse voices, Salt Lake City is the perfect place to have this conversation. I am sometimes asked what sustainability means, and I will put it as simply as I can, but it is about creating lasting opportunity for all people. It is about investing in infrastructure, processes, and people to ensure our cities are equitable places where all people can thrive. The decisions we make as communities, large and small, can have long-lasting consequences. Sustainability is about preparing for the future so that our children can inherit a better world. I am so excited that through the 68th United Nations Civil Society Conference, we will explore these ideas here in Salt Lake City. If you are associated with a non-governmental agency, whether it's a nonprofit, school, or association, I encourage you to visit www.un.org/CSC2019 and register for the conference today. And please know it takes a little time to get your okay back from them because everyone has to go through a background. So be patient on the process, but do register. We want as many people, local and from across this country, to participate in this dialogue. Now it is my honor to invite Undersecretary General Alison Smale to say a few words. Alison?
Thank you so much for the very warm welcome that we have received here since landing a little bit early yesterday afternoon. I've certainly had plenty of opportunity to meet very interesting people who are all very passionately engaged on several fronts. One, showing off Salt Lake City and Utah is certainly one of them. But secondly, it's also been very illuminating to discover that people are working together collaboratively on all sorts of projects that perhaps divide opinions elsewhere, but here in Salt Lake City and Utah seem to unite the best of people and the best of efforts. I've really sensed the strong support from Salt Lake City and the state of Utah and other key partners, including Utah Valley University and the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and many others. Everybody seems determined to make this conference a tremendous success with enduring impact, and certainly we at the United Nations want to see this. It is, as the Mayor noted and others have also stressed, the first time that the United Nations holds such a gathering outside of New York City, where it has its headquarters in the United States. And we are going to do everything we can to make it a success. I bring greetings from Secretary General Antonio Guterres and from all our colleagues at our Department of Global Communications in New York. We are 750 people engaged in myriad mandates and missions, but none more dear to our heart than making this one work. I have particular gratitude to Mayor Biskupski, who championed the conference from the outset and who's worked tremendously hard in the spirit of friendship and partnership to bring support and contribute a strong vision for the kind of important conversations that we really can have here. When I was speaking last night at dinner, I noted that the United Nations has one really unique power, and that is to be able to convene interesting conversations that would otherwise not take place. And I'm very much hoping there will be hundreds, if not thousands, of such conversations taking place in August when the conference happens. It all could not happen without the gracious contribution of the state legislature, which will help create a successful and productive gathering, and we are deeply grateful for that. The conference itself is perhaps not what you would expect from a United Nations conference. It's co-hosted, as I say, by the UN and civil society, and this year also co-hosted by Salt Lake City, and this partnership is truly meaningful. Each host plays an active role in shaping the conference, so yes, follow your advice from the Mayor, register, then you can be part of our planning as we go forward to showcase what we've just been shown, many technical achievements here. Silicon Slopes appears to be a reality, and certainly there is some cutting-edge medical research, particularly in the field of cancer, that is going on here and which should enrich the conversation in a very special way. Civil society representatives at the conference serve on committees to develop thematic sessions, identify and propose speakers, review workshop and exhibit proposals from all over the world, and ensure that diverse perspectives are represented. So there's a role that you really can play before the conference to make sure that it looks like what you would like a conference to be. We have representatives of youth, which is one of the fields which constantly is mentioned in all global gatherings. We must involve youth. In this particular instance, youth are classified as people between aged 18 to 32, which shows you that there's a very flexible interpretation of the word youth. Sometimes it goes down as young preteens, and other times it goes quite above 32. But there will be a youth-led thematic session, and I really encourage everybody to make that a big success and one that resounds well beyond the borders of Salt Lake or of Utah itself. At least 1/3 of the participants will be young by our definition. We're also very pleased to welcome Marusha Khadama as chair of the conference. She is a national of Spain and serves as Secretary General for the Partnership on Sustainable Low-Carbon Transport, also known as SLOCAT. The splendid public transportation systems here in Salt Lake City are, of course, a pointer to what such systems can do. Marusha has extensive experience in working on the issue of sustainable and inclusive communities, including through multilateral approaches in more than 30 countries. The conference, planned under the leadership of the co-hosts and our chair, once it begins, it is Marusha representing civil society who will lead and take the reins. She will guide the consultations with civil society across the globe and finalize the outcome document that will be the ultimate legacy of the conference. This promises to be our largest civil society conference in our 73-year history of such gatherings. We expect 5,000 participants representing 700 organizations from civil society, academic institutions, media, private sector, UN staff, and member states from more than 100 countries. The event will explore the interlinkages, especially among all 17 Sustainable Development Goals, including critical issues relating to gender through the lens of Goal 11, quote, to make cities and human settlements inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable by 2030. The conference is also the occasion for global civil society to have those important conversations that I mentioned, inevitably about climate change, and to build momentum ahead of the very special summit that the Secretary General is convening in New York on the 23rd of September on climate change. I have had great meetings so far in less than 24 hours in this wonderful city. I'm looking forward to many more in the hours and couple of days that remain. I look forward to answering your questions, whether delivered by the media or asked directly. And I thank you once again for bringing together such a unique combination of youth, health, hard work, sensible attitudes, and let it also be all infused with a sense of fun and curiosity, because that's what will take us forward in the world. Thank you so much.
Madam Undersecretary General, Mayor Biskupski, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great honor for me to be with you and represent Utah Valley University as an associate member of the United Nations Department of Global Communications. As an academic institution, we have been able to work closely with the City of Salt Lake to bring the 68th United Nations Civil Society Conference to Salt Lake City, Utah. I am grateful to our dear Mayor of Salt Lake City, Jackie Biskupski, for her great leadership and vision. I would like to express my gratitude to those who believe in building bridges, in dialoguing, and making the extra effort to find solutions to our global problems. This conference will bring the voice of the people from all corners of the earth. As a civil society, we promote and call for action on the United Nations Sustainable Development Agenda. In negotiations with the United Nations, the Salt Lake City Host Committee selected Goal 11 as the general theme for this event. According to the Sustainable Development Goals, number 11, it concentrates on building inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable communities. Utah is well known for the kindness of its people. This humble attribute exemplifies the character of our citizens. We are known for humanitarian relief efforts, volunteerism, and the welcoming of immigrants and refugees, and for a strong desire to leave a better future for our children, for placing a strong legislative agenda on establishing quality in education, for finding balance on gender equality, for bringing awareness to our climate and establishing solutions for a clean environment. This is Utah, and this is why we are joining efforts with the United Nations to bring this dialogue to our community. I express gratitude to those who have gone the extra mile or the extra hour in the planning process to make this event possible. And I want you to know that we will continue to work. We still have 4 more months ahead of our agenda, and we hope that many of you will join this great effort. We're also grateful for those that have been giving support in kind and also through financial contributions. And we welcome all the financial contributions to make possible this great event. There are so many groups and entities eager to bring this event to fruition. We also thank the youth of our community, as well as those from New York and abroad who are planning and participating in this process. These youth represent most of our universities throughout the state, and also throughout the nation, as well as throughout the world. I also want to express my thanks to the many humanitarian organizations who will take part in this conference, and I specifically recognize the great support shown by LDS Charities, known as the humanitarian arm of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Today, we are honored in Salt Lake City to have with us the Undersecretary General, Madame Alison Smale. She is the highest United Nations official to ever visit our state. Madame Smale leads the global communication agenda for the United Nations, and we're deeply honored that she has taken a couple days of her busy agenda and schedule to be with us. Undersecretary General, on behalf of civil society, we thank you for joining us here in Salt Lake City at the state of Utah. Thank you all.